You asked me earlier about the advice to new fighters or young fighters, you know, and I said, get a prenup, in which my daughter gave me dirty looks.
Because she's young and she's still.
Yeah, well, I mean,
She's in love.
I was bound actually onto that. I think that the normal marital certificate is not good enough. I literally think that there should be some, I'll call it rules of engagement, or there should be some guidelines, because when you come into the marriage, each of you bring in certain assets and attributes.
Right.
There should be, this is what I brought to the table, this is what this person brought to the table, this is what you guys now commingle from that point forward.
Right.
That's really the only part that should be ever looked upon. But that all depends on how you come up with a contract.
Right.
There really should be a contract. You know, a lot of people call it the prenup anymore, but I look at that. Love is only good while there's love there.
Yeah.
When there's not love there, now you need a contract.
Yeah, now you got a contract, and you don't want to do it while you're mad.
And too many people get married at a young age when they shouldn't get married.
Yeah.
They really, they should. I mean, I'll just say with my couple, my kids that are married. You know, I actually had the conversation with them first. I took them behind the woodshed, just talked about the birds and bees first time, but then when they wanted to get married later in life, it's kind of like going, okay, let's go back behind that woodshed again.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things that the fairy books and the other books that they read, or the movies that they watch, life doesn't happen like that. You know, people do have bad breath. People do have good points and bad points to them. Hopefully the good points outweigh the bad points. But you really need to, and I said that to my kids, you actually have to have a plan.
Yeah.
And you have to know where you're heading. You can't just let life aimlessly happen to you. You actually have to have some kind of a plan. So.
Well, that, and you know, for fighters, you filming this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want? I thought you wanted me to start. Or do you
I
want
did. I want you to film this.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's right. Good. We're good.
I want this
going,
film.
Mr. Frye. Keep going.
Because another thing, you know, I mean, you're a fighter and you get hurt. Don't make the mistake I made, Coleman made, 20,000 other fighters made. Don't take painkillers and fight your way through it. You know,
Take the time.
take the time off. Take the fucking time off and heal yourself, you know, naturally, or as best as you can naturally, without the minimum amount of painkillers, because they will be there. The organization will still be there when you're done healing. Don't let them tell you, you know, you've got to come back now or you'll lose your place. Bullshit. They'll always welcome you back. You know, don't fuck up and take the pills, the painkillers, and get addicted to them, and then you're going to get hurt anyways, and you'll end up getting hurt worse than if you would have taken the whole year off and healed perfectly, you know, or better. I mean, you should have take the year off and heal up. Don't rush it with pain pills, because that organization will always be there to take you back, or another organization will.
I'd say that's part of the equation. The other part of the equation is simply you got to realize. I mean, most athletes think that their career is going to go forever.
Right.
It's only going to go until the next match, and depends on what happens with that next match.
Right.
Did you get hurt? Did you lose? How did you lose? There's a lot of different factors that you have to factor on in. So having, I'll say having that wherewithal or that savviness to sock some of that money away.
Right.
You know, invest it, put away for that rainy day, because the inevitability for all professional athletes, regardless of what sport they're in, that rainy day is going to happen, that injury is going to happen, that sickness is going to happen, and they weren't ever expecting it. You know, I mean, for example, going in MMA, Did you have health benefits in MMA?
No,
No, none of these athletes really have health benefits in MMA. There's, if you got hurt while you're with a big organization, you got hurt during that match, they're gonna do something right there, but it all depends on if you broke a leg or broke an arm or broke a hand or something like this, or need some stitches or concussion, they'll take care of those.
That immediate injury,
Yeah.
they're not going to take it long term.
Yes, exactly.
They're going to take
Now you
the
have to look
injury happen in the
Yeah.
ring or the cage.
But then now the repercussions, you have to live in that body
Right.
after that, and that's the hard part about that is they're not going to be there holding your hand.
Right.
You're gone.
And they may not pay for the physical rehab. You
Yeah.
know, they may pay for the surgery. If they do, then you're lucky. You know.
But the ongoing either rehab or whatever other aspects, no, it's not going to.
Yeah.
So, but that's where it's, the injury aspect is just one aspect of it. I've always been really big about preaching options, making certain that you have more than one iron in the fire, because, being involved in the fight industry, you have a game plan, your opponent has a game plan. It's basically the same game plan. Somebody's
Right.
going to come up by the short end of the stick of this game plan here pretty quick. And that's where you always have to have option B, C, and D going. Option A is always going to be that tough one.
Well, the thing is, your plan is, I'm going to win this guy, I'm going to beat this guy, and I'm going to have $100,000. Okay, I'm gonna go buy this watch, I'm gonna go buy this car, I'm gonna buy this snowmobile. You never plan for when you lose, you know?
Right.
And
Or you don't figure out, well, how much is Uncle Sam going to take
Right.
out of this winnings right there?
30%.
And Uncle Sam didn't step in there. He wasn't in your corner. He didn't do nothing for you. So it kind of makes you mad there
Well,
when you lose that kind of
yeah.
money there as well.
Well, he lets you in the greatest country on the planet, you have the opportunity. And that's the thing, like somebody said, I don't know who said it, but in professional sports, you don't have a career, you have an opportunity, and the opportunity is very small. That window of opportunity is very small. And if you get hurt, it gets either really smaller or it gets closed,
Yeah, I mean, truthful statement. Yet I've seen lots of athletes have come and gone, and it's especially when you see I don't mean just come and gone, I mean, but that they're no longer here, and they're a lot younger than what we are. That really saddens you that their careers not only were their career shortened, but their life was shortened as well.
Well, like in pro football, they say the average career is 3 years, right? Or 2 years. And that's not very long. And in pro fighting, it's even, it's even smaller, Shit, you and I got lucky, we stole like 10 more years.
I kept trying to keep quiet about all that. There's just so that it's kind of didn't want to bring any attention.
Yeah.
It's kind of going, Dad's ever still around? Well, okay, yeah.
I fought for 13, 15 years. I don't know. How long did you fight for?
It's basically, I just say it was close enough to simply say 20. So yeah.
Yeah, and
But,
probably the
I
last 10 probably shouldn't have.
But even I'd say probably at that last 5, 7 or so years of my career, I already had a lot of promoters and promotions that liked me.
Right.
They like working with you. They know your personality, stuff like that. Like, hey, I really like working with you there, down Frye. Let me feed you this guy. Let me feed you that guy. They're all real fights.
Yeah.
But they're feeding you guys that it fits more to your advantage. I
never had that.
I did. I mean, I was very fortunate that a lot of the promoters they like me, and they're like, but they say, "Dad, what kind of opponent do you want?" I go, "I want a big guy." Right. It would mean like how big? Like 300+ pounders, and they're like, "What?" They're like, "Why?"
5'2", 300 pounds.
but again, how many of these promoters were actually competitors, past competitors?
Right.
They're not. But from the physical aspects, people look at, wow, how big that person is.
Right.
they're impressed by this physical presence, stuff like this, but the reality is, how quickly can they move?
Right.
Not. How good is their cardiovascular going to be? Not. So it's kind of like, I basically looked at, I was setting up things to where I was stacking the deck in my favor.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a real fight. I still got to win it.
Right.
I can't just throw it a banana peel, hope he's going to step and slip and fall down. And
You look at his weight, you look at his height, you look at his age, you look at his record,
Yeah. Well, but again, just to touch on that point, when you and I first started, you could not jump on the internet.
Right.
I couldn't see, this guy I'm about to fight, look him on up.
Right, we didn't have that.
We could go to SheerDog, or I could go to, fullcontactfighter.com, and I could Google your name, and now I can see all these video clips, and I can see all this footage, and know, literally almost all the, where do you live, and the whole, that stuff that exists. We were basically like flying by the seat of our pants, and you had one of your training coaches, Rich, here a little bit earlier, and simply just to talk about how did you train? Basically, everyone was kind of like flying by the seat of their pants. Well, let's do a little bit of this striking stuff. Let's do a little bit of this grappling type stuff. So there were no manuals. There was nothing, again, that you could Google and say, I want to be an MMA fighter. So you could do that now.
Yeah.
But not back then.
Now they're all mixed martial arts gyms,
Yep.
Back then they were boxing gym or wrestling or judo or, or Muay Thai or, they were separate.
Yeah.
And then overnight they went from Muay Thai to MMA, gym or karate gym to MMA.
You go to any bar on a Friday or Saturday night, they'll be wearing a UFC shirt or a ball cap, and I'm thinking most of those people, they can't even spell UFC or MMA.
And if you spot them, the F,
let alone do it, but they've got enough, just enough of those barley pops in their system that, they talk the good talk.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I saw one Yahoo with gloves, fighting gloves, at the bar.
Really?
He had the UFC shirt and gloves.
That's probably not a good thing. He's already prepped here right now.
Yeah. That guy I'll stay away from. He's a dummy. he's looking for trouble. I don't want to go to jail.
Do they stop fights too soon these days, you guys think? Because often you see the referee jumping in there.
I think so. And some of them, they should have stopped when they started. They should have never been in the cage.
That's a tough call on a referee. I know the referees are trying to do the best decision that they possibly can make.
Well, they're trying to protect the fighter.
Yeah, but when you look at the reason I'll even bring this up is that most of these referees have never been a competitor.
Right.
Okay, same way most of the referees have not been competitors. Even the judges have not been competitors of mixed martial arts. I had the opportunity. It would have been like 2 years back, inside Phoenix, Arizona, that they held the ABC national conference, where they had literally over 400 different participants that came in, between being certified as being a judge of MMA, but then also being a referee of MMA. And it was a week-long type of a deal that they had, but they brought in all the various state athletic commissioners. That they had basically 40 out of the 50 states were represented at the event that I went to. Well, the Arizona State of Arizona athletic commissioner touched base with me. He asked me if I was going to be in town at that time, and I said yes, I would. I was going to be. And he said, "Do you mind on that Monday morning?" He says, "You're going to have all these various state athletic commissioners, and would you speak to them?" And I'm like, "About what?" You see, I'm good when it comes to just Q&A. Ask me a question, I can flap my hat forever. But simply to go up
No, I didn't notice it.
Okay, but to go up to make a speech, no, I'm not good at making the speech aspect. So, basically I just asked, well, what do you want me to talk about? He says, you're that guy that's been with this industry from its beginning, from the NHB to what it has transitioned to MMA. He goes, just want you to talk about some of the aspects of it, and what's good about it or what's bad about it. I go, well, I think I can handle that. So I sort of reluctantly said yes, and so then I go, and my fee will be, and now he got choked up. Okay, I said I want to attend both classes for refereeing and how to be a judge. He's like, why? Hey, I said, I've done both roles, but I have never taken an actual class. Back when it first began, it was just no NHB. I had already implemented rules at that time for amateur level, no holds barred, and then pro level, there was risk, but there was a reward. You're fighting for money. Amateur, there's no money on the amateur side. You're just trying to see, do I have the skill sets, the tools to progress on? And so I had different rules, and I basically pretty unique set of rules. It was actually hard for me to get. I was even doing a lot of the matchmaking because I knew all the questions to ask. It's kind of like as I'm asking a question, how long have you been trained in MMA? Or again, there's no holds barred. How long have you been trained your NHB career? What kind of a grappling background do you have? What kind of this or that? Again, but then I would have to go back. What did you do in high school? Did you participate in high school sports? Football player. Okay, at least most of the guys. Most of them did not have any. They just want to jump in the cage and fight because they thought they're a tough guy, but they have no athletic background. But if I knew that you played football at least 4 years, you're used to being banged around in football. Right. Okay, I give you a little more credence. But if you're like a wrestler, again for those same 4 years, I'm giving you a little more credence because now you can take people down. You might be able to throw some people, things of that nature. So I give you a little bit more. So that was a lot of the matchmaking, but. So basically, trying to make the long story short, I went to 2 different classes, and at the beginning of each class, they had each participant stand up, state their name, where they're from, and what was their background. Were they a former competitor? Did they do any training, or were they just a fan? And out of 400 people per class in these classes, there might have been four or five actual former athletes.
Really?
That was it. Everybody else fell into the fan category, and that just boggled my mind that they're like this. And so the Saturday, Sunday, I go through both classes. Same thing for both classes. Monday morning, it's time for me to go speak to all these state athletic commissioners. So I get there about a half hour earlier, and they're in a heated dispute as I walk in. And in this heated dispute, they're talking about what represents a downed athlete. Is it 3 points down? Is it 4 points down? Is it 3 points down but bearing weight? Is it 4 points down but bearing weight? I'm thinking, and then they kept bringing up John Jones' name because he a lot of times would put down that third point, but he's not bearing any weight because he's just putting his hand down on the mat. And it just, they actually were so hostile that the national representative had to walk up there and just say, fellas, let's take about a 15-minute break. Go get some drink, go hit the restroom, stuff like that. Come on back, and then we'll have Dan Severn speak to us. Now I'm thinking to myself, great. I've got a hostile crowd to speak to here now on top of all this. So they all go, they come on back, and then they're doing this. They did a nice introduction. They showed this little musical montage of crash, bang, boom, and stuff like that. So I think, how can I get these guys to laugh right out of the blocks right now? And I'm like, watch all this crash, bang, boom. I'm like, once they're done with the little montage, open it. I'm like, well, fellas, how many of those techniques right now that I do that would be construed as being illegal in today's MMA world? Oh, they started to style that because literally, like almost 100% of the things of the way I was suplexing people and doing what's known as 12 to 6 elbow strikes and things of that nature. And they're like, oh, they just, they started cracking up. And then I went into this. I go, what some of you guys know, because you saw me in the class the last 2 days between the referee and the judging. I said I came in because I wanted to go through the classes, and I go, and I said, you guys need to get more former athletes to become a judge. You need more former athletes to become referees because there's a different mindset. And as we watch things, we're watching things in a whole different light than someone who just has only just watched it all their life and they're just a fan of it. I go right now inside the room here, and I point across the room there, I go, yeah, the most recognized referee, you got Big John McCarthy here right now. I said, you guys have been arguing about 3 points, 4 points, 3 points better weight, 4 points better weight. You got Big John McCarthy in here right now. Big John McCarthy's out in the cage. I'm on one side, here's my opponent on the other side. I said, Big John points to my opponent, he says, are you ready? He nods his head. He points over me, are you ready? I nod my head. He said that old famous line, let's get it on, because he's listened to a little bit too many of Marvin Gaye's songs right there. And I go, and I drop down to an all 4 point stance. And I do the fastest bear crawl he has ever seen across that octagon cage. At all times, either bearing 3 or 4 points on that mat. And they will have to be bearing weights, otherwise, how could I have propelled myself forward? And I will get right in there where I'll slam into my opponent's legs to where either I move up into a clinch or I will slam into him and hook him down, and I'll have him right where I want him without ever violating the rules. And these guys were all stumped when I said that. And Big John McCarthy comes up there and goes, that's why he's damned to be Severn. He goes, he's that guy that he knows how to manipulate those rules. But I go, but my whole purpose here is because having more athletes on board to give you guys that kind of feedback. That's what you need, because how many of these UFC owners, how many MMA owners, company owners, are former competitors? They're not. And yet they want, again, I'm not trying to speak poorly of them, it's just that they don't think the same way that the athletes is. They'd have either more rules or they'd have more ways of protecting the athletes. Kind of just like we were talking about before, about should these companies be taking care of these athletes? Well, if they paid the price for you to give you all this coverage, something like that, there should have been some type of fighters fund or something like that put into place to where if a guy is hurt and is permanently hurt, there's got to be something put in there, because what's he going to do? Go sit out on a curb with his coffee can and hope someone drops a couple coins into it. So again, there's a lot of improvements that still need to be made to the company, to all of these MMA companies. Again, I kind of refer to a lot of times just to UFC only because they're the most well-known company that's doing it.
Right.
And it's just I look at it from everything we talk about. You want the best element for the athlete, the professional athlete that is out there risking his body to where he could cause irreparable damage that will affect his life for the rest of his life. Yeah. So that's all. Well, I know I talk too much. Go ahead, Mr.
Fuck, what was the question? I was said before, they have amateur and they have pro. I think they need to have a semi-pro, because most of these guys claiming to be pro are semi-pros. I think as a pro, you're making enough money to live off of your sport.
Okay.
Where, everybody else is working. So, okay, the guy's a plumber, and he works 8 hours, then he goes to the gym for 2 or 3 hours, and that's what he does. He's a plumber, Joe Plumber. But so he's semi-pro. You don't need to claim that you're a pro fighter until you make enough money, in your fighting career.
There would not be very many people in that pro category.
Right.
I mean, even as the guys that are on some of these big venues right now, they're still not there that they can be independently, because they might get one match.
Right.
And one match isn't going to carry them for the next 30, 40 years of their life. You got to realize what's their window of opportunity. They're going to be doing this in their 20s to maybe early 30s to mid 30s at best.
And you're a semi-pro, because you couldn't sustain a lifestyle off of your sport.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't get to claim you're a pro.
Yeah, well, I could definitely see the category of amateur, pro, but then have that semi-pro.
Semi-pro in there, and you have a different set of rules. You have a different set for the amateurs, you have a different for the pros. So when you graduate from amateur to semi-pro, you still have, you know, a separate set of rules than the pros do. Mm-hmm. And that's to protect the fighter, you know. Maybe it should be a 3-minute round, you know, instead of a 5-minute round.
Oh, again, for an amateur,
For the amateur
or semi-pro. I mean, to me, it's like going. You could be, you know, maybe at the 3-minute mark for maybe the amateur. You could be at the 4-minute mark maybe for the semi-pro, and then by the time you're pro, you know, now you're doing these 5 minutes.
Now you do the 5-minute, yeah.
You could just use that as one example. So,
right, but you only give 4 rounds for a main event as a semi-pro instead of 5. You know, that way you're protecting that fighter. You know, you get you know, softer rules, you know, for those guys too, to try and protect the fighter.
Yeah, I could definitely see something like that happening.
You know,
who was the biggest nutcase in the early UFC days?
That was a term of endearment. That was just a term of endearment.
I don't know. That's an odd question.
Oh my God.
How was it like dealing with John Peretti?
I never dealt with John Peretti. I was already in Japan at the time. I only met him once or twice. Did you?
I mean, basically, I think I only ever really met him just on one occasion, and I did not like what he was trying to sell me on. So my mother was trying to raise me. If I can't say anything nice, maybe I shouldn't say anything at all. I'll leave it on that note. How's that?
Was there ever any drug testing at the weigh-ins during 90s MMA?
No. Hell, I didn't even have weigh-ins.
In the beginning, it was no holds barred. There were no weight class, so there used to be just called it was a press conference.
Yeah.
So it was just a press conference.
Yeah.
Showed up to the Friday night press conference and
tell them your numbers. Yeah.
Basically, then they would. Well, again, Did you know who your first opponent was, or did they pull out like my first UFCs? It was they pull out a bingo ball machine. You showed up to the Friday night press conference. They basically just would, you know, you'd have a mediator behind the podium. They would go through, you know, contestant number 1 stand-ups, and your name is, and again, you know, I'm just throwing out, okay, this is Ken Shamrock. He stands this foot tall. He weighs this, and his background is this and this, and then he has a current record of this, and then they go to the next person and go down the line. Then once they announce who the 8 different individuals, which once again, the internet did not exist at that time.
Right.
So you're at the press conference, you finally see the other 7 men at the event. Then they pull out the bingo ball machine. They've got 8 different balls that are in there. They all have a name on them. Spin it out. Okay, here is Don Frye. Okay, spin number 2. Okay, now here's Ken Shamrock. So you find out right now on a Friday night, okay, your first match is Ken Shamrock. And everyone's like going, well, okay, who is this guy and what is his background? Because the internet didn't exist.
Right.
I couldn't simply Google him up at that point in time and find out all this type of stuff. You fly by a seat of your pants. So
when they're blind, completely blind.
And you go out there and you do your first match, and while you're back after your first match, you're trying to either watch or have your corner scout what's happening in the match. You're trying to get whatever rest you can, which it's a 2-hour pay-per-view, and you're going to be out there pretty quick again because you got 3 matches tonight.
Right.
So again, when you look at what it once was and what it has changed to, you know, how many athletes would be able to endure 3 matches in a night today? I mean, what I'll say there is a difference in the athlete today. The athlete is much more well-rounded.
Right.
There's a lot more skill sets. You know, they go into way longer training camps.
Right.
But it's But how many of them could endure
Yeah.
3 matches to know that they didn't get hurt, they didn't get cut?
It still comes down to toughness.
Yes.
You know? Who's
Grit.
fucking tough enough to, grit. Who has enough
Let's see
grit.
there. I mean, let's see who's our picture in the background here that we're talking about who has some true grit.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be.
John Wayne.
There you go.
True grit, buddy.
had to work it. Had to work the old Duke's.
Did a great job, man. Did a great job.
Who would have won? I guess both of you could answer this between
Me.
Don and Hoist Gracie. We already got Don's answer.
Between, say that again.
Hoist Gracie and Don. There's a fan asking on here.
Don.
Don Frye.
Yeah. Again, Don. When Don stepped into the ring, he basically was the most complete competitor because he had a striking background and he had the wrestling background. And he had with the judo background. So he basically had 3 different pedigrees he came into the octagon with. That's where I was just good at not getting hit. I just kept hands up there to keep parrying away. I mean, hardly ever did you ever see me even make a fist. It was mostly at times my hands were just set open because I'm looking to knock away and get to clinches.
Dan was just a big bear. He's like
Just to wrestle. I was just to wrestle.
that Leonardo. What's his name? Leonardo what? The actor. DiCaprio when he got raped by that bear. That was Dan. Dan just took people down and raped them. He just mauled them. He would take them down.
I don't know. See, I've had Tank Abbott say the same rapey type of thing, but it wasn't exactly the good way you were saying that. Yeah, I'm thinking, geez, Pete, it's kind of like going, huh?
I thought that was the Iron Sheik's gimmick.
Yeah.
How tough was Chemo?
I never fought Chemo. I don't know.
Neither did I. So
His dad was a very good guy. I met his dad a couple of times. He gave me a ride in Hawaii, picked me up at the airport, and gave me a ride to the hotel. And very nice guy, man.
Wade wants to know, this one's for Don, who was your favorite wrestler to be drinking buddies with? Because I know Dan doesn't drink.
It would have been Hawk from the Road Warriors. Met him that one time. We were on the same card, and we went out and drank till the sun came up. We come out of a bar, and there's the sun. Hawk's like this. Yeah, he was a good guy, and I think he passed away 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
But
Mike
was a good guy.
Minus both Road Warriors now. Mike and
Right.
both have passed on. So yeah.
Yeah, Animal was just recently, and that was pretty shocking. Do you think Hawk would have done well in MMA? Because he was supposedly a guy that used to love to fight. But street fighting.
Right, yeah. Well, that Brawl for All, is that what you did
Yeah.
for the WWE?
Yeah, that was Hawk. I don't think Hawk was in there.
Hawk was in it.
Oh, he was?
He lost to Billy Gunn, I think.
Oh, Bart Gunn.
Bart
He was knocked
Yeah,
out.
Yeah, knocked out by Bart Gunn.
Okay, yeah, okay. This tells you how much I was watching, huh?
Right?
Oh, I wasn't.
So much for scouting out your next opponent.
Yeah, but I was not invited into it in the first place. That was the right part. When they were announcing all this, when they had all the road agents would all the athletes back into the cafeteria area, they were telling them about this concept of this brawl for all. But then they said the only 2 people that are not allowed to be into it is Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn. And I had one of the road agents. I go, if I'm not going to be in it, do I have to sit there and listen to any of this? And he's like, no. So I left. So it was like...
Took your ball and went home.
Yeah, I did. But then like a few weeks later, they're running this event. And I'm just sitting in the back there just waiting to see if I'm going to be on tonight's show or not. And one of the road agents comes up to me and says, hey, he says, how would you like to be in the brawl for all tonight? I'm like, against who and how much? They threw me they threw me a price tag. I go,
Sure.
okie dokie.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Could either of you ever be friends with Ken Shamrock? Somebody's asking.
Sure. You know, I don't have anything against Ken. I think he's a different, you know, kind of animal, but so is Dan Severn. You know, Dan's a different kind of animal.
At least I'm housebroken, okay? I don't think Ken is, though.
I got a lot of respect for Ken because when we fought, he came to fight. He did a hell of a job. I thought he did a hell of a job. I was really impressed with our fight.
Dan, Joe wants to know if you could talk about wrestling in Turkey.
Oh, he probably heard some of my turkey stories.
Eating a turkey or wrestling a turkey?
That's in November, okay? I mean, that was my very first true international experience. I mean, my very first experience was I did a tour of Canada. But my first really big international trip was going over to Istanbul, Turkey. And we're supposed to go up against young Turkish wrestlers. This was junior age group, so between 16 to 18 years of age. And so we're supposed to go up against Turkish wrestlers between 16 and 18 years of age. My first opponent was like a 35-year-old military Turk. So, I mean, he's fully aged and he's all muscled on over and he's got his buzz cut and meanness and ugliness all intertwined. And he's looking at me, at 18. You know, I'm much younger looking. I've got a lot more hair on my head, stuff like that. And when we started going to wrestle, he grabs a collar tie, but as he grabs a collar tie, he grabs a wad of my hair, cocks my head back, and he headbutts me, splitting my eye, and then to add insult to injury, he pulls a wad of hair out of my head. So as I'm backpedaling, my hands up in the air because the blood's trickling down, I'm looking at the referee like the match should be over. my opponent should be disqualified for unsportsmanlike conduct.
The referee's warned you about stalling, huh?
Exactly. The referee looks at me, you're passivity, you're stalling.
Yeah.
And they didn't, even during this time frame, there were no concerns really about blood pathogens,
Right.
things of nature. You actually wrestled with a handkerchief inside your sink. So
Right.
basically just reach in, grab a handkerchief,
Wait.
wipe the blood, shove it back in, got after it. But I'll say that it motivated me to where, oh yeah, when I took it down, it's kind of like, just a technique known as a crossface. You can be kind of nice, put it in there like this. If you're a little bit more motivated, you simply rear back.
Rear back.
Yeah. I rear back, pow, popped him into the chop there pretty good, and I know I basically broke his nose is why I look at it, because I had blood coming out on my arm from his nose, and then he started to bite into my forearm, trying to take out a chunk of US grade A, and that's when I always tell people my cheese kind of slipped off its cracker, and then I hooked down, and I started rolling on up there, because I'm trying to shove that, I'm going to use my bone, I'm going to shove that short little chunk of cartilage up to the black hole of space, and they could go bury his carcass out in the sand dunes. I don't care, this is me or him, and I choose me.
Right.
And that's when referee blows a whistle, referee is cautioning me for passivity. Oh no, caution me for doing an illegal move. Into the round, basically in the round, referee sends me back to my corner, I'm a bloody mess. Referee sends my Turkish opponent back to his corner, he's a bloody mess. His coach is so angry at his athlete because this weedy looking American is beating his athlete that the coach pulls out a stick about the thickness of a broom handle and proceeds to beat his athlete to motivate him. So when I started climbing the cage and stuff like that, I'm thinking, hey, I can speak the language. At any point in time, I could do this thing called a tap out or say, hey, Mr. Referee, I've had enough fun for tonight. I'm out of here. Yeah, so been hurt far worse in my amateur wrestling career than I have been in my MMA career.
Oh, yeah.
Actually been hurt probably far worse in my professional wrestling career than I have been in my MMA career. It's pretty sad to say, when the same thing you did was climb into the cage to fight another human being.
Yeah, it's safe, yeah. It's a lot safer than pro wrestling.
But you had, okay, down, but you had how many boxing matches did you have?
I had 8.
Okay.
I had 8, I think.
Now, were these all amateur level?
I had one amateur back when I was in the 8th grade. And then, I was doing good, you know, boxing, bum, 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 knocked the guy down. He threw the ropes, he's hanging, gets up, breaks my nose, blood, oh, you talk about blood all over the place. Referee stops, and then my mom and dad, my mom's going crazy because her baby's hurt and bleeding.
Bleeding, you bet.
Yeah, just like a stuck hog, you know. And they haul me off to the Davis Monthan Air Force Base down here because we were fighting here in Tucson. So they haul me there. The guard, you know, stops the car, and once she sees some IDs, she chews his ass out, you know. My son's blah, 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 blah.
Mama Bear came out. Mama Bear, you bet.
He goes back in that fucking hut, shuts the door, locks it, waves us on.
That's a pretty good idea right there.
Yeah, and then we get to the hospital, and let's see, we're sitting there waiting. Finally, the doc comes up. She chews his ass for taking so long. Yeah. My dad finds a place to hide, and then they get that done.
Did they have to reset your nose?
Oh yeah,
okay.
yeah. I had to go back a week later, reset my nose. You know, back then, you know, like that. I'm going backwards in the chair. I'm, you know, 8th grade with 15 years old, you know. I'm screaming like a woman, boy. I'll tell you what, you hear me yelling from here to El Paso.
Wow.
Don, someone has a question for you about your Pride entrance music. Do you know that your Pride entrance music was from a PlayStation video game called Test Drive? And what did you think about your entrance music in Pride?
No, I didn't know. I really didn't pay much attention. I thought it was the same music everybody got. Had no idea.
Yeah, I can say, but by that time, usually when you're preparing for a fight, you're in a different zone at that point in time. You're
tunnel vision.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole place should explode and burn down. I wouldn't know it, man.
Yeah.
My tunnel vision was so bad.
Yeah. No, but that's a good thing because you're concentrating just on that one element there. You don't need to worry about anything else. You just simply need to know about that.
John wants to know from Don if it's true he had a backstage altercation with Jerome LeBanner after your kickboxing match.
Not that I know of. After he knocked me out, and all I remember, I was drugged up, you know, going into the fight. I'd taken one pill too many, you know, and I remember going out to the entrance thing, and then all I remember is waking up in the locker room and fully dressed, you know, already showered, changed clothes, and,
wow.
and sitting there, woke up and talked to Bill Goldberg. What am I doing here? Bill says, well, you lost.
What was Bill there doing? Was he like a what was Bill doing there? Was he a commentary or was he?
No, but I think Bill came there, was doing a pro wrestling match for somebody else.
Oh, okay.
And,
on the same card, so they had a mixture
No,
of, okay,
no.
all right, okay, at a different time, all right.
Something different. You know, Bill's one of the nicest guys. Have you ever met him?
Oh, yeah.
He's
No,
such a
great,
nice guy.
great guy.
Yeah. You can't, you know, you sit here all day long, talk about how nice he is, what a good guy he is.
Somebody on here wants me to ask you guys about the Bohemian Rhapsody song from Queen. Is there some sort of insight?
He wants him to sing.
Oh, he wants him to sing it.
Sing a little bit of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself and Freddie Mercury. Bullshit.
Oh, that was a great song.
There was another guy that was asking what.
That's a take ad, but I remember the first time he said that, you know, the head singer, his name.
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, Freddie Mercury. He said, you know, because he made the comment, he goes, after I bawled him out and that by bashing the old but Like what kind of guy he goes on TV? I think he said, I felt like I just got raped by Freddie Mercury. And I kept thinking, I didn't know who Freddie Mercury was at that time, but I knew that it came from Tank. It wasn't going to be no compliment.
Right, right.
So, yeah.
Thank heaven, go fuck himself.
William wants to know if you realized during your Vlad TV appearance that they blurred your Trump hat.
Yeah, I found that out afterwards, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad that, we're in the United States where you should be able to express your opinion, wear whatever you want to wear, so that's pretty sad.
They didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so they blurred out my Trump hat.
Upstate Strong wants to know, who do you guys think is the toughest professional wrestler that didn't do MMA?
I'd say Haku.
Yeah.
Tonga?
Yeah, no, Haku would definitely fit a picture or something like that. I think there was a few different wrestlers that could have, that could have actually gone. I mean, Steve Williams, could have been an MMA guy because he actually already had an amateur wrestling background. I mean, he wrestled at Oklahoma University. He could have done.
Oh, you're talking Dr. Death?
Yeah, Dr. Death.
I thought you were talking about
no. I mean,
the other Steve Williams.
Oh yeah, no, gotcha. No, so there are guys that actually had some legitimate backgrounds to where you really don't know how they would have done.
Well, you don't know until you get punched in the face. You know, I mean, you see a bunch of wrestlers came into the sport who were Olympians, gold medal Olympians, and they got armbarred, they got punched, they never did another fucking match, so I don't give a shit how many world championships you have in wrestling or skateboarding or bicycle riding, until you get punched in the face, all that means nothing.
Justin wants to know if being a firefighter helped you at all for MMA. Did the mindset help you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot of close calls in the fire department, and it teaches you. John McCarthy asked me one time, "How come you're so calm before the fight?" Oh fuck, John, I'm not gonna die. And it almost proved him wrong when Coleman got hold of me.
I actually think that's a great question though, because firefighters, if they run into a burning building or something like that, they don't know what's all inside there.
Right.
That could be the last thing they ever do is they may not come out of that building. So you got to have that mindset.
Absolutely.
Your life, your first responder, your life is on the line.
Absolutely. I did it. I loved it. It was great. Great career.
Robert wants to know, what is each of your tastes in music?
I like old country western and old rock.
I'd say it all depends on what I'm doing, because if I'm doing a workout or something like that, I want something that's a lot more upbeat. Like old rock and roll definitely would be one of the genres, but then there's sometimes like late at night if I'm mellowing out, and there's some certain classical type of things I can get into at times. I know. Rather sophisticated, huh?
Yes. Beethoven. Well, you went to school with Beethoven.
I knew that moment that you said that. That was a guy. Yes. Him and Aristotle, yes. Yeah.
Still debating who invented the bicycle and who invented the telescope.
The wheel way back there. Yeah, the wheel, yes,
Pro Wrestling Stream wants to know, which wrestling promoter would have done well as an MMA promoter?
I think a lot of them would actually fall in that category, because if you're looking for just promotions, that's I think a lot of different professions promote would fall in that same category, because all it is, they're looking for hype. And that's, again, I'll say that the beauty of professional wrestling is taking something and basically taking nothing to making something out of it. I mean, that's the real beauty of
like Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon would have been great in anything. I mean, he could sell you a turd, make you happy about it,
I'll take your word on that one.
You know, and then Dory Funk Sr. Dory Funk Sr. was a great promoter, you know? And shit. Oh, and criminy.
Elliot wants to know who each of you think is the best amateur wrestler of all time.
Of all time? Well,
Shit. Couple guys from Okie State who, God, I can't remember. And they became pro wrestlers, but they were even older than you.
is that possible?
Scary.
Well, I mean, and, you know, there's several people that could fall in that category. I mean, I'd say that Dan Gable fell in that category at a younger career. Then you've had other people like a Chael Sonnen not Chael Sonnen, but from Iowa State University. Chael, I'm drawing a blank here right now.
Sanderson,
Yeah, there you go.
Sanderson. Kale, yeah.
Kale. So I mean, it just all depends on what type of a time era that you're looking for, because you know the sport of wrestling's been around so long now that how far back can you go? Because many people fall into that category that they were really good during their time period and their time came and went, and then other people. It's kind of like, you know, when you look at. I had a good run when I was with the UFC. Don had a good run when he was with the UFC. Just different time periods. So you really can't. It's kind of hard to really throw people at comparisons because each time marches on.
And you know, once again, it depends on how they react when they get punched in the face. I mean, you had these guys, you know, going to kill Sanders, and you know, and other guys. Well, if they'd have done such a great fucking job, they'd have gone in and done it. But they probably got punched in the face before us and, you know, piss on this.
Yeah. And if you take that one equation that Don Frye talked about, getting punched in the face, and then you look at that match between him and Takayama, there is nobody else that I can think of that got punched in the face that much many times and is still here to talk about it. So
Still good looking.
ta-da! Right there.
Still beautiful, baby. Still beautiful.
E. Kingsley is wondering how you guys met.
It was on a dating site.
Yeah, that would go over today. Attorneys as kind of like, well, this particular day, I had to my sexuality was favoring. Yeah, right.
I went to a gay bar, asked for a double. They brought on a guy who looked like me. At
Arizona State University, I was coaching at Arizona State University, and Don was one of the athletes that was there. I mean, I know Don on a much more personal basis. Don lived with a couple of my younger brothers, so I know Don on a much more personal type basis there. So,
And he got me a job my first summer at ASU.
Did?
Yeah, you remember we did the Olympic barbell stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, Olympic Enterprise. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, worked in a pickup truck with no AC during the summer.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
That truck.
Moving thousands of tons, you know.
Yeah, weights.
Yeah. I don't even know if we had a dolly. Do we have a dolly?
I think that's what we were calling each other.
Yeah.
Dolly, carry this over here, carry that. Yeah. No, it was a lot of hard work out there. I actually had a number of different wrestlers that worked through there. The gentleman that's I could go with the story. That's the story.
Well, I gotta see a man about a horse. If he's gonna tell another story, I gotta take a piss.
All right.
Don Frye leaves me to hold down the fort. It's okay. All right.
Well, he's drinking a lot of water today. It's good for his health, I guess. Jofo in the Ring wants to know your thoughts on WWE putting celebrities in the Hall of Fame while other more worthy guys such as Sabu, Rob Van Dam, and yourself have yet to be inducted.
That's almost worthless for me to make a comment on. I mean, I'd just be doing who's on the selection committee that goes in, who does the voting on this, is there an actual physical Hall of Fame? I mean, once again, we go back to the aspect of professional wrestling. What is professional wrestling? Professional wrestling is very politically motivated. There's a lot of wonderful athletes that have been involved in professional wrestling that they'll never be working at one of the really big companies just because they don't want to play the political games of things, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. It's even when you look at like a UFC Hall of Fame. Are all the guys that are in that? Should there be others? I know about a few others. Like there's not a why isn't Frank Shamrock in there? There's a few other people that can be in that same type of category that, by all rights, are deserving to be there. Just professional wrestling. If I simply look at it this way, based upon some of the people that have been inducted in there, should Dan Severn be in that Hall of Fame? Oh, hell yes. I've accomplished way more, but it's gonna. But I'm
More
not,
than Drew Carey?
Well, I don't know about that one right there. You got me on that one, Hannibal. But yeah, just based on some of the people that they have inducted, yeah, I should be in a Hall of Fame like that. But it's I'm not going to play politics with anybody.
Someone wants to know your thoughts on the Diaz brothers.
Well, I'll say that I don't know how to put it. I mean, interesting characters that they like to smoke up, but they bring game. They're willing to take punishment out there. They're willing to dish out punishment, and again they've helped to show that by partaking of CBD type products and that there's merit and good to utilization of those kind of things. So I've got no problem with the Diaz brothers. They've been very entertaining to watch. They cut some pretty comical promos at times, so I'm good with them.
What did you think about, I forget if it was Nick or Nate in the ring with Anderson Silva when he was doing the thing pretending to sleep?
I don't know. I don't think I even watched that one, so I couldn't even comment about that. Let's hold down the fort the best I can.
You still telling that story?
Same story again. It's kind of going. I just had to put record, repeat. Yeah.
Someone was asking Don what kind of hunting you do, if any.
Shit, partner, I haven't done any hunting in 5 or 6 years, but we used to go deer and elk and bird, and when we go to California, Northern California, hunt them wild boars. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Was the Katie Vick thing a shoot? Was that you, Dan, involved in that?
Wasn't me. I don't even ever heard of Katie Vick.
I don't even know what's the story.
I don't know. It was the Schniz Goku can fill us in more on that. Someone else was asking who are some of the nice people in MMA and wrestling that you've met.
Don Frye and Dan Severn. Now quit asking those stupid questions.
We all know you're not the biggest fans of Lieutenant Abbott.
No, how do you tell that? Come on, now you're putting words on her mouth.
Favorite food to grill? Someone's asking.
Steak. What the hell else is there to grill? Just put it on long enough, burn the hair off of it.
Well, I'm not that hardcore. I like my done through a little bit more, and I do like chicken as well. But I go. It's just kind of good. I almost watch it there, Mr. Frye. Man, I can't. Okay, I thought I could grab just one of those. Okay.
We get that match.
Gun versus Antler. Gun wins all day long. Okay.
Yeah, keep that in mind there, boy.
Okay. Point. Well taken.
Point.
Yes.
Red.
The judge gives that point. Mr. Frye. Yes.
Don, Danny wants to know if you put seasoning on your steak or you just eat it like rare like that.
No, I seasoned it with soy sauce, garlic, and horseradish, and some salt.
What was your diet like, Don, in your prime?
I eat 6 or 7 or 8 times a day. I'd eat every 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, and maybe that's why I'm broke. Maybe I spend all my money on food and fuel. And shit, I'd eat whatever the hell I could, whatever slow enough for me to catch.
Wow, that's a lot of meals a day.
It's a big door.
Doosan wants to know, Don, this is for you, whiskey or beer?
It depends on the circumstances,
The occasion, right?
the
Depends on
occasion,
the occasion.
the temperature.
Also depends on what kind of cigar you have going there as
Absolutely.
well. Yeah.
I know Don fought a lot more in Japan, but there's a fan asking, compared to Japan and the U.S., where did each of you guys like performing more? I know, Dan, you wrestled more in Japan than
Yeah,
fought.
no, I actually like the Japanese audience. They seem to really appreciate things. I mean, even though the first couple times, like doing matches, they were always quiet.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, gee, I don't think they really enjoy this match. But then all of a sudden, oh, you just wait in unison. Oh, I mean, that they would go as I go. Well, no, they I think they're a lot more deeper thinkers.
They're
They appreciate.
studious, you know. They
Yeah.
study the match, and like you said, it throws you off because you think you're taking a shit out there because there's no cheering, but you know they
Yeah, no, it is. It just. But then when the match is done, the applause that you get when the match is done, it's really just it's kind of a unique experience compared to an American audience.
Well, it was pretty neat when I was fighting in Pride. Hell, they do the wave for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone wants to know if Don had any interaction with the Yakuza during his Pride days.
I'm sure I did. Yeah, I'm sure I did.
Michael wants to know the biggest misconception about MMA that the general public has about it.
Biggest misconception. Well, definitely it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of armchair quarterbacks think that they can do it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
they should not. But I
Yeah.
can't think of anything else other than that.
Yeah, there it is. People are fucking dumb enough to watch it and say I can do that.
Yeah.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Have either of you done any ribs in wrestling?
Yeah. When I was at Brad Reagan's training, Brian Johnson and I Brian had some cream cheese that, out of those little packets, and I put it in Kurt Hennig's boots, and Brian and I are up in the ring pummeling, keeping an eye on Kurt, and he saw it, and he put it, he thought, I guess he thought it was me, but he took it out of his boots and put it in Brian's. I guess he thought Brian's boots are mine. So I got them both.
Don, someone wants to know if you remember those UFC intro videos where the girl would be pouring you drinks before the show and predicting results.
Oh, what's your question?
No, okay, but that was Predator's prediction.
Predator's prediction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't UFC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What happened to those? This guy claiming that he's John Jones wants to know. I don't know if it's the real John Jones.
No, I
but,
don't think so. Wants to know what?
What happened to those
I
predictions?
guess why did they cease? I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably a better way of asking.
Stuart Wilson, who was Bruce Willis's stunt double for the last 8 or 9 years, he produced them, and they just got to be too much money to do. So they cost too much money because Stewart was doing everything through SAG, and so when you go with the union, it costs you a lot more to do stuff, and so he was paying SAG wages to the girl and to the camera guy, and the editor, and so it just got to be too much money.
Sid Ghost wants to know, Don, if anyone got mad at you for calling Paige Van Zandt a piece of ass.
I don't know. Did I call her? Or did I call Nisha Tate piece of ass? I think Paige would have liked it. Paige, what happened is I wanted Paige to sit on my lap, and I think it was the following year when I inducted Sakuraba into the Hall of Fame. After that, I went back to the hotel, and there's Paige and Uriah Faber, you know, because they were a couple. And they were standing right next to the bar, so we were talking, and I blew it. I should have grabbed her then and got the picture. But shit, she loved it. She got mad at me. She says, "What the hell are you doing? Not talking about me and talking about Misha Tate."
What are your thoughts on Sakuraba? Both of you, Justin is asking.
I think he's fantastic. I think Sakuraba and Takayama-san are two of the greatest fighters, you know. And the two brothers. God damn, they're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me.
Japanese brothers?
Yeah, the Hawaiian Japanese brothers.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Yeah. God dang it. Shit.
Well, just to play up what Don just said right now, you know, for Sakuraba and Takayama, they were both working for the UWFI organization when I was first going over to Japan, and they were kind of at the almost at what they call the green boy type status. Green boys meant that they had to mop the floors, sweep the mats, cook the food at the dojo. So they were basically like a low man on the totem pole, and they actually were really kind of being mistreated a great deal. So to see them both kind of rise up and become stars in their own rights, that was great to see.
Dawn, did you enjoy working with Toho Studios? Uncle Lou wants to know, do you have any stories about that?
Absolutely. I love Toho Studios. It's fantastic. One of the best things that happened to me is working there, you know. Hell, they had the pool out there, and after the Godzilla movie was over, they drained the pool and filled it with cement, and that was a shame because that was such an iconic piece of history, and Ruhei Katamura, picked me for the Godzilla movie. That was awesome. I had so much fun doing that movie. I told them I had a fight coming up. I needed to train. They said, "Oh, sure, no problem. You can train while you're not filming, And one day I was like, "Okay, I need to go lift weights, go train." "You can't do that. You have your makeup on and your wardrobe." Oh shit! So there went the training. So when I fought, I lost.
Curdlot Farms wants to know, Don, where did you learn how to shoe horses?
Inoue. I learned it. Started with a guy named Stony Newfing. I worked with him, and then I found out about the fire department. So I got on the phone, called up all the towns in Arizona. Nobody was hiring, so I called up New Mexico, called up Santa Fe, and they were hiring. So I went over there and tested and got hired there, went through their academy, and then I was there for 6 or 7 months, and we couldn't afford to live there anymore. And so I brought my then wife back home to Sierra Vista, and I went off to Oklahoma City to Oklahoma Horseshoeing School and did their 12-week program, and came back home and worked for a guy named Tyler Basinger. I was his apprentice for 6 or 8 months until he got tired of my bullshit and he fired me, and and hell, I was working for him, Tyler Basinger, and I just started my own horseshoeing business, and then I was a reserve on a fire department, and then I also worked at a mental hospital for juveniles, So I had 4 or 5 jobs at the same time when I first, trying to get my life together, And then it went from 5 down to 4, from 4 down to 3, and 3 down to 2.
And any bad accidents ever happened in shoe and horse? I mean, did you ever have like a really bad experience, or too many of them?
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about an animal that big, that powerful, and you try to shoe it.
Oh, most of them are real good. Some of them you got to get after, But you got to be calm, and you always don't turn your back on them, Especially a mule. A mule will wait 20 years to fucking kick you. He'll get it eventually. But I've been bit, stomped, thrown, kicked, shoved, but the thing that hurts the worst is when they rake you in the eyes with their tail.
Oh.
Because, their hair is real thick and coarse. When that crosses your eyeball, boy, it freaking hurts because they know what they're doing. Yeah.
Justin wants to know, what do each of you consider your biggest accomplishments?
I don't think I've really accomplished anything yet.
Well, you got a house full of titles.
I mean, but you could actually, when you look at that, what is your greatest accomplishment? There's different sectors. I mean, there's different things that a person's done at different phases of your life that have those titles to it. So yeah, I don't think there's really, you could ever really put one element there. It just all depends on where you're at in life and what are your priorities. You might have fulfilled those priorities at this age, but now you've got new priorities. Set for yourself, new goals.
Yeah, you got to set new goals, and that was my problem. That's where I fucked up in college wrestling. I wanted to go to college and wrestle, and I wanted to be on the team. That was it. And once I did that, I didn't set any new goal. I didn't say, okay, I want to be Pac-10 champion. Now it's Pac-12.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, or I wanted to be Big 8 champion. I don't know, is it Big 10 now? I don't know. But and then say, okay, I want to be an All-American. Okay, I want to be national champ. I didn't. I set my goal and I got it, and I didn't think bet more and set another goal.
Now, normally I wouldn't bring up politics too much, but I know that Don is a big Donald Trump supporter. There's a fan on here, Ome One Dragon, wants to know each of your thoughts on Donald Trump.
I love him. I love Donald Trump. He got cheated. They stole the fucking election. Anybody who doesn't think so is a fucking idiot.
I'll simply just go with ditto. That summarizes. I don't have to go back into anymore. So.
Jay wants to know.
Okay, now let me elaborate here a little bit more. Okay, that's what was your choices when Donald Trump was running for office? What was your choices between Donald Trump and
Biden?
No. Okay, no, that was okay. The most recent.
The original
okay,
one.
that's okay.
Hillary, right?
Yeah, you had your two choices. That's what you got to look at. It's like most of the time, I'll say when you're voting in your presidents, I'm gonna say this bluntly as this: you're trying to vote in the lesser of the two evils.
Right.
Because most time, before Donald Trump ever got into office, you did not know what he was going to really do. I mean, because what do most politicians do? They promise you a lot of empty promises.
They sell you a bag of shit.
And they don't do anything. So basically, you vote for the lesser of the two evils. I mean, I always tell people I voted for Obama because what was my choice? I had Obama or Hillary Clinton to vote for. So what are my choices? You try to
McCain.
Yeah, you just basically you vote for the lesser of the evils. It's kind of saying it's not the people's choice. We didn't elect these candidates to try to run, but when you look at a track record, I always say that what makes more sense to vote into office, a business person or a lifetime politician? I would rather have a businessman any day than a politician, because a politician, they talk a pretty good game, but how many of them really do anything that they really say? They're not accountable now for what they said. So I despise most politicians because they just give you empty promises, and then they're not held accountable. That's probably really what the biggest problem here in the United States is. No one is held accountable for what they do or don't do, because you have people that empty promises. You got media that are putting out false propaganda, and they're not being held liable. I mean, there's so many things that are happening that are wrong. It's Don said it best. I mean, there's going to be a real reckoning that's got to take place to really put the United States back on its true path. I mean, it's sad. It's a sad state that we're in.
And I don't think voting for Trump was lesser of two evils. I think Donald Trump was a candidate you wanted to vote for, you wanted to put in there because you knew he was gonna, make America great again. That was great, man. That was a great slogan, man. He did it.
No,
he brought jobs back.
Don't get me wrong. I voted for Donald Trump both times, but I gotta say, prior to Donald Trump coming in, because he was a proven commodity of what he did.
Yeah.
No empty promises. I mean, all you got to simply just simply look at it right now. What has Biden done? What did he say, and what has he done? He's done more damage to the United States
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it's going to. Americans are going to suffer. American people are going to suffer, and that's the sad part. Again, politics and empty promises it's sad, and these guys are held liable for what they said. How's that going to affect him? It's going to affect him. It won't be affecting most of these politicians, because their paychecks are still coming in. Their health benefits are still there. They have better health benefits than what you and I have. And gee, whatever happened to the Constitution? Constitution starts off with "we the people." It doesn't start off us saying "y'alls." No, that's good. People need to be held liable for what they say and what they do, and that is across the board. No one gets a free pass.
Well, they did, because they stole the election and they told us to go kiss their asses, and we rolled over and we took it. I just can't believe it.
Elliot wants to know, since you guys live close to the southwest border, your feelings on immigration and immigration reforms.
Immigration's okay. I don't have a problem with immigration. It's illegal immigration that I got a problem with, and we needed that fucking fence, and that's one of the reasons that, they ganged up on Donald Trump. They stole the election because he cut off a lot of money going illegally to the fucking congressman. They can't get that. You think they don't get a cut of the goddamn drug money? You're out of your mind. You can't read that, lady.
Don and Dan, 2024.
Oh yeah,
Bunch of
somebody.
people the best.
Dude, that's,
Oh,
we need to make a shirt.
I don't think the world would be ready.
you're not
for that.
ready for that, nah.
There'd be too much correction,
Last question.
but it would be a much better place.
Last question before I ask you about your podcast. Someone was asking earlier about Ben Askren, your opinion on him. He's got a fight coming up against Jake Paul, the guy that's an extremely popular social media guy. What are your thoughts on that fight coming up? It's a boxing match, and of course Askren's a wrestler.
Yeah, I've heard some hype about this, and I actually think it's the other Jake that has been actually the one that's been the instigator. Is that, am I correct on that too?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I don't know why he's pursuing that one. Again, Ben Askren doing a boxing match. I don't know what Ben's. His pedigree is all wrestling.
And he got knocked out real hard.
Yeah, well, with that flying knee, and that was because I know that prior to that match, people were asking me, who do you think is going to win? I said, well, I don't know what Ben's been doing for his hands, but I simply know that if he gets a hold, that he'll do very well if he gets a hold of somebody, because he's
Never
a
had a
wrestler.
chance.
Yeah, exactly.
But Masvidal's a different animal.
Yeah,
Masvidal's a fucking animal.
And I give him all the credit for what he did. And he had a game plan, and he executed that game plan precisely. So he did great with that. So the theme that has come up several times through the course of this interview is that everyone's got a game plan until you get hit in the face.
Yep. And,
Getting hit with the hands one day, getting hit with a flying knee, that you got whole body weight, that's a little bit more velocity.
And Mike Tyson, I love Mike Tyson, but he didn't come up with that. Everybody's got a plan until they get hit. George Foreman said that back in '74, or when he fought Ali, and I think somebody said it before him, So that's the saying that's been around for 100 years.
So what's your prediction on that Jake Paul fight against Askren?
Well, better be Ben. Better be Ben.
Yeah, I would say that I would just not knowing the other gentleman's background whatsoever, I just would be looking at that Ben Askren would be putting in the time. He was a very accomplished wrestler. I would think that he'd be putting that same work ethic to work for him in
he's a very good athlete.
To tune up whatever boxing skills that he can and whatever time frame he has to do it within.
He knows how to train. He knows how to train hard and study and learn.
I believe Jake Paul had a very quick knockout against
some basketball
former
player,
NBA
right?
star on that Tyson versus Roy Jones undercard.
Yeah, a basketball player and a wrestler or fighter is completely different. Completely different.
Now, someone was brought up earlier. Are you guys going to do a podcast? Well, you've actually already been recording them. You recorded one earlier today with Rob Schneider. We will be putting some clips of that on this channel, but you want to tell us a little bit about your podcast, where people...
Probably should just tell them the name here so far. Toxic Masculinity.
Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
And this is the gentleman that came up with this name, Toxic Masculinity. Because
Don Frye.
we're just living in because we're living in a very strange world, strange times where people don't know what they are. I think they have to wake up in the morning and they have to flip a coin and go, today I identify
as a horse.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Tomorrow I'll be a giraffe.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're living in strange times where parents are told that don't let their child say what sex they are. Let them
decide.
Yeah, let them decide a little bit later. And I'm thinking, wow, whatever happened to parenting? I mean, again, I'll just simply say we are living in some of the strangest times where I really wonder where intelligence has gone in the United States. It's I think it has left the building.
Well, yeah, people should mind their own goddamn business, and let the parents parent.
Yeah, but people, again, what you do in your home is your home.
Yeah.
I always tell people, I could care less if you're doing naked cartwheels.
Yeah.
Just do it in your backyard, not in the front yard that I have to see you. Okay? Do it in your backyard, and hopefully there's a fence.
Yeah.
I could care less with that, That's some of the things, the privileges that you have here in the United States. There was the amendment that we had freedom of speech, but then that's been being taken away more and more, being hindered to where that is being held against you. That's pretty sad.
This politically correct bullshit has ruined the country and got us in a bad spot.
Yeah. And there needs to be a correction. It's okay to disagree. I mean, there will always be people on both sides of the fence on things, but there's a lot of things that are going on that there's a lot of corruption that's taking place.
So for people that want to find out more about the podcast, I guess, Dan, they can follow you on social media. And you're going to be sharing this information?
Oh, I mean, I will, but I mean, I'm not. Right now, I kind of suck. I mean, if I had to say, just find out more, I mean, I'd simply push my website right now, dansevern.com. Don, what would you say for best way to find out things?
I don't know. I've got to get a new Instagram because my Instagram got taken down. So,
But yeah, on my website, dansevern.com, I mean, I do have different social media outlets up, but I mean, it's if you look for just the name itself, toxic masculinity. I mean, that's you should find something underneath this. Isn't that correct, gentlemen? Okay.
very soon, our first 2 podcasts will be broadcast.
And I guess we're not exactly we're not exactly politically correct type of individuals, but we're honest people speaking from the heart and being a little bit blunt and bold about things that maybe that's something that is
Scary, frightening right now.
I mean, it's there's a lot of people that are afraid to actually speak their mind, and someone that doesn't mind being punched in the face doesn't mind speaking his mind.
That's right. What are you gonna do? Punch me in the face? Happen. You gonna break my nose? Happen. You gonna break my arm? Happen. You gonna break my knees? Happen. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Fuck.
Yeah.
And you already have a mascot as well for the podcast.
That's right. That's right. Dan Severn's the mascot.
Where are you at there? Where's our? We got Quinn. Where's our?
Dan and Don's toxic masculinity is either that or it was Dan and Don more better. More better podcast.
So what's the difference between this podcast and Joe Rogan's, for instance?
There's 2 of us.
There's 2 people, but it's okay. And who was the first guest? We know the second guest was Rob Schneider.
Yeah, Ray Cash.
Ray Cash.
Ray Care. Cash was his call sign. When he was in the
Marines.
No, the CIA.
Okay, well,
he was a Navy SEAL. He was a Navy SEAL, and he got out and went to work for the CIA.
Yeah.
Hell of a guy. Hell of an American.
All right, well, I really appreciate both of your times today. I'll let you guys close it up.
It was about damn time. Holy shit, man. I said I'll sit down for 5 minutes. Here we are 5 hours later. One Dan Severn story. God.
All right. I believe Dan Severn has left the building. All right.
Thank God.
Okay.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.